All right, everyone. Good morning. My name is Philip Nichols, and welcome to Payroll Year-End Closing for 2013. All right, everyone. We're going to look at the steps you will need to follow to close your payroll in GP 2010 and GP 2013 before the end of the year. All right. Now, before you do your year-end install, you'll need to follow these simple steps. Back up your Dynamics database and back up your company databases. Can't stress that enough because you are going to be doing quite a few things that if something happens during the processes, you want to be able to restore your databases. Some things you'll need to do prior, again, to doing your year-end install is check your GP version. You want to verify that your installs are at the latest versions. As you see on here, GP 2010, you need to be at Service Pack 4. GP 2013, you'll want to be at Service Pack 2. Now, I think probably most of you remember that have been doing payroll throughout the year. There was a Service Pack released around March that did update the 941 form, but you should probably all be on that by now, and that was the Service Pack 3 update for GP 2010. Next thing you'll need to do prior to your year-end install is verify your federal and state taxes are at the latest versions. And you do that, of course, go to your admin homepage, setup system, pull up your payroll taxes. Now the R7 is of course the latest release for GP 2010 and GP 2013. You'll see a date of 9/1/2013 regardless of your version, and you'll see a code update in GP 2010, and that was of course from the 941 update that was released. All right. 2014 tax updates. Those are going to be available as of 12/16 of this year. Now, if you were not at the R7 level on your tax updates prior to 12/16, then you'll want to download the tax cab file from Customer Source instead of running the complete automatic update on your taxes. All you'll have to do, again, after you download it from Customer Source, you go in like you normally do to do a tax update, but instead of selecting automatic, you select your manual installs. It will point out, and you can point to wherever you downloaded the tax cab file, and it will do the manual update for you. All right, then you're going to start. You'll download your 2013 year-end update from Customer Source again. And after you get this downloaded, you want to go ahead and export any of your modified forms and reports to have a backup just in case something goes wrong. And that's, of course, you go to your GP menus, open your tools, customize maintenance. You'll highlight everything in the box, which are, of course, all your forms and reports. Click export and save that in a secure location. Now again, if for some reason you were not at the latest service pack levels or tax install levels prior to starting any of this and you did install those, then again you're going to want to make sure you have a backup prior to doing the year-end install itself. Alright, now the year-end install itself, installing that. If you've already downloaded it and you're ready to go, you can go ahead and install it now. You do not have to wait until after your final payroll. The only thing you do have to wait on is installing that 2014 tax update. When you are ready to run your year-end update, you'll have to install it, of course, against your server and against every desktop install of GP. Now, prior to installing, I would review the year-end update documentation just in case. And when you are ready to install, you just double-click on the file and let it run. After it's finished running, you're going to want to launch your GP utilities, and this will start the process of updating the Dynamics database and updating all of your company databases. Then when it's complete, you can again run the year-end against each of your desktop GP installs, and all it's going to do on those is, of course, update the local code folder. Now, after your year-end install runs and you've ran through your GP utilities, and you've updated all of your desktop installs, you want to launch GP, and depending on whether you're on GP 2010 or 2013, you'll be at these versions of service pack levels. Something else to do after you finish your year-end install is to verify the date of your year-end update And if you go to the Setup Payroll and Payroll menu, you'll see a year-end update field, which should be dated 11/15/2013. If it is still dated November of 2012, then your year-end update did not install correctly. And we would need to restore your databases and run the year-end install again. All right, so you've done your year-end install, and you may or may not have payrolls that you're still doing for the year. So, to do your final part of your payroll year-end, after you have processed all of your current payrolls, there are things you need to do. All your payrolls need to be completed prior to the final year-end process, and if you haven't done so yet, or you haven't been doing it through the year, this would be a good time to reconcile your payroll reports to your 941 reporting. Carrying on, once you finish any regular period procedures, and those are of course running any of your period end reportings, your month end, your period ends for payroll, state, FUTA, SUTA, your WCs. You want to have all of your liabilities posted if you post your liabilities, FUTA, SUTA, and workers' comp again. And you want to do your quarter end reporting, your 941s and your 940Bs. 1Bs, I'm sorry, excuse me. Okay, so then your next step in your year-end closing, after you finish all your payrolls, will be creating your year-end wage file. And of course, your year-end wage file is what's going to create all the information that you would need to create your W-2s, and if you also have them, your 1099-Rs. So before creating your year-end wage file, again, back up your databases, Dynamics, and all companies. You'll create the year-end wage file, go to the payroll homepage, go to routines, and there's a year-end closing routine. And when you open that window, it'll should have in there the current year you're closing, which should be 2013. You just want to verify that that's what the field says. Go ahead and run the process. After the process completes, you're able to verify the year-end wage file by printing the year-end wage report. It's also from your payroll home page, routine section, year-end wage report. Now, for some reason, something happens, and you feel you need to recreate your year-end wage file, you go to the payroll homepage, go to your routines, the year-end closing again, and you go through the step you just did earlier to actually create the file, and the system will ask you if you want to delete the current file. You tell it yes, it'll delete it, then it'll ask if you want to recreate it, and at that point you can make changes if you need to prior to the recreation, and then you're able to do your creation process again. Once you're completely finished, back up your databases and put copies in a nice, safe place in case you need to go back to them for any reason. After you're finished with all of the year-end processes, you want to close the payroll fiscal periods for 2013. Now, if for some reason you need to leave them open, you can, but I would recommend closing them. And you need to set up your fiscal periods for 2014. And these are all done off of the administrative homepage when you go to Setup, Company, and Fiscal Periods. All right, now you're on to your New Year processing. And all you'll really need to do is install the 2014 tax update now, the one that you couldn't install earlier. And this one you can use your tax updates and install that one automatically. And again, that update itself will be available on 12/16 of this year. All right, and now you're at the point where you can process your payrolls for the new year. And before you process payrolls for the new year, make sure your check date is in 2014. If it isn't, you will get an error. And of course, something everyone looks forward to is W-2 processing. After you run your year-end wage file, that of course, like I said, has created all the information you will need to create your W-2s. If you want to look at your W-2s, print them, again from your payroll homepage, you go to routines, payroll, and there's print W-2s. Of course, before you print your W-2s, you want to verify your company information. Let's click over here, and this is the screen you're actually going to see when you go to print your W-2 forms. Things you want to verify, like your company name is correct, make sure you've got the correct address ID in here, make sure your employer identification number is correct. And of course, from this window, you can print your W-2 forms or your W-3 transmittal form. If you're printing on tractor feed, of course, you can also do your alignment from this window. Other items you can do, of course, if for some reason, I don't know who might be on the call, if you're a large food and beverage establishment with tipped employees, you're going to want to run your Form 8027. And if you process retirement payrolls, you're going to want to print your 1099-Rs. Both of these, again, can be done from the routine section of your payroll homepage. Green shades. If any of you are using green shades to do any type of your reporting, such as your state taxes, now would be the time to process those. And it would also be the time to create your W-2 mag media file if you're doing that filing through GP. That is, again, from the payroll homepage routines. You do your W-2 electronic file. On that window this year, they changed some of the wording. So where it says user ID, that is the PIN number that you use on your Social Security website. And that's going to be right down here at the very bottom of the screen. Of course, when you pull this screen up, you will, of course, see the year that you have created your wage file for. And you just have to click your Create File to create your mag media, and then that'll be ready to upload to the Social Security Administration. Now, before you actually do the upload, you can go to the Social Security website. You can download their AccuWage tool. And this is something that you can install locally on your computer. And you can use that tool to check the file that GP created, and it will let you know if there are any errors anywhere in the data itself. And if there are no errors, you can go ahead and upload it. If there are any errors, we'll need to get those corrected. And the final thing you can do, if you are using the HR system itself, you can, if you want, archive your inactive employees, and that's basically from the payroll homepage. Go to your utilities, HR, and archive employees. And that's finishing with a slideshow. You can email me directly, but my email is pnichols, PNICHOLS, @IBISinc.com. Okay, well, I'll close out and let you go. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. And we'll talk with you soon. Thanks.